About the state of politics in this country. And if you think it's bad now, wait until you see what happened back in the 1970s. My guest tonight is the co-author of a brand new book called America's Deadliest Election, the cautionary tale of the most violent election in American history. She is CNN's chief political correspondent, Dana Bash, up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Dana, thanks for joining us. Good to see you.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
So we're talking about an 1872 election for governor in Louisiana. This was during the era of Reconstruction. The election was between William Pitt Kellogg and John McEnery. They were running for governor. There were warring factions in the media. You had a Supreme Court getting involved. And man, if that doesn't sound familiar right now, I don't know what is.
I'll add some familiar sort of dynamics to what happened then. There were riots in the street. There were chants of hang him, talking about one of the gubernatorial candidates. There was actual violence. There were allegations of corruption and fraud. In 1872, there really was corruption and fraud. And it was so widespread that the candidates for governor and also for the legislature, nobody would concede, because each said, no, there's no way to know that I won or lost. Well, they said there's no way to know that I lost. I really won. And so these governors had themselves inaugurated. The legislature, two of them, had themselves sworn in. And so there were, as you said, competing factions and competing governments. And so it was impossible to know what was going on. The other thing that happened was that these leaders in the Democratic Party, and remember the Democratic Party back then, they were the segregationists, they were calling for violence in the streets. They were very open about it. And their supporters heeded those calls. There was violence, as I mentioned, there were calls, hang him, in that happened on the streets of New Orleans. And then outside of New Orleans, elsewhere in Louisiana, in Grant Parish, named for Ulysses S. Grant, the then president, there was a massacre, the Colfax massacre, and that, trying to find justice for the 150 Black men who were killed in cold blood. That's when they put it in the federal system. It ended up at the Supreme Court, which is what you were referring to. And the Supreme Court decided that it is up to the states, not the federal government, to be in charge of elections, to be in charge of civil rights. And it was that decision that brought the South 100 years of Jim Crow laws.
Something you discuss is how there was one interview in your career, and we know that you've had a front row to so much history, including this election cycle. But there was an interview you did with the late, great John Lewis that really put so much into perspective as it pertains to this story and what we have been through and what we're going through right now as a country.
I mean, I feel so lucky that I got to walk across the notorious Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama with John Lewis. That was where he was walking as part of a march in order to call for voting rights. And he got his skull bashed in by police officers who did not want to allow Blacks to have the right to vote. And yes, I mean, it was almost a spiritual moment, which I can't say I have a lot of when I'm covering politics, but that really was. And again, I feel so embarrassed that I didn't fully know. I mean, I obviously knew the history of the modern civil rights movement in 1950s, 1960s, what he went through and so many others went through in order to actually get the right to vote. But why it ended up where it was for those 100 years went back to these elections that were such a disaster during Reconstruction.
A question I think I ask just about every author, and I know that there are so many different answers to this, but what is the takeaway for people who pick up this book and read it and learn something that, again, as you mentioned, we were never taught? Mm-hmm. What's the takeaway that you hope people have from the book?
A couple of things. Number one, as bad as 2020 and the beginning of 2021 felt, it has been much worse. However, this is a reminder that as horrible as it felt, particularly being Washingtonians and it being very much a local story, not just a national and international story for us, it can get worse. And the only way that we understand that as Americans and as citizens of the world is to know our history, particularly American history. And I just hope that people are enlightened to what happened and why we are where we are right now in America, why race relations and equity was such a, and still is, so backwards and could have been so different had these elections not gone the way they did during Reconstruction, and they ended up doing away with Reconstruction effectively and the policies that went along with it because of these elections. So it's just, as you said, you're a history nerd, I'm a history nerd. It's us learning from that history so that we understand the moment now, especially as reporters.
The book is called America's Deadliest Election, the cautionary tale of the most violent election in American history. Dana Bash co-authoring it with David Fisher. Dana, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know it's been a very busy cycle and it continues to be so thanks for taking some time.
I appreciate it. And thank you for being so generous and being interested in this book.